my name is Zoe. I am the Gypsy Psychic. Today we're going to talk about the dark side of meditation. Stop looking at me because then I'm looking at you. So distracting, beautiful man. What I'm about to say might burst your bubble, but meditation isn't necessarily good. It has some negative side effects. And today I want to talk about why meditation may not be the best thing for you to do. I started to have these really weird side effects that weren't good to meditation. So I started to do my research and I learned a lot more than I knew before about the ancient technique called meditation. Most people, when they want to meditate, they do it because they want to relax, they want to center themselves, they've had a long day, and they just want to meditate and chill. But the truth is, meditation is so much more than that. And it can actually be quite damaging to our mental well-being if we're not careful. A lot of spiritual people will probably be writhing in their seats like, how could she say that meditation is not good or that it doesn't work, or a lot of other stuff that I will get into later on in this video. But for now, let me focus on the negatives of meditation. Remember, I'm not against meditation, I just don't think it's for everyone. Please watch the entire video if you want to make a comment about disagreeing or agreeing with me, because I don't want to I'm going to say a lot of different things here, and I just don't want someone to comment too fast without knowing my whole stance on this. Yeah. The first side effect of meditation that I'm going to talk about is negativity. It can actually make your life more negative. There are multiple studies that have shown how this meditation impacts your mind and your thoughts. And they don't always mean good thoughts. Many people who meditate find that instead of feeling more uplifted and optimistic, they end up feeling more pessimistic and seeing the world in a more negative way. Number two, it can actually change the way you act in social situations. Studies found that many people that were at meditation retreats for a long period of time, they came back and they just could not socialize the same way. They were very detached. It was a lot harder for them, and they may have experienced more social anxiety or challenges in their social life connecting with the people around them. It also causes a sort of disconnect with people because it changes your behavior, it changes your mind. So it caused people more harm in a lot of ways socially. A lot of the time we use meditation as a powerful tool to detach from the world and as a way to make the world around us more tolerable, if that makes any sense. But being grounded and centered is one thing, but then having to completely change your socializing personality, right? I know this is in English. It can affect your friendships and how you relate to coworkers. Another negative side effect of meditation is that it heightens your senses or changes them. The way we hear things, see things, smell things, taste things. Meditation can change your ability to taste, and it will change things for you. And I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing all the time, but it can be very stressful when all of a sudden you can't see things the same way, and it alters your perception and how sensitive you are. For example, people who meditate may experience that they're more sensitive to stimuli, right? Outside technology and noise. They can be hypersensitive to light. And that may be great if you're on some kind of healing journey, but if you're in New York City like me and you're surrounded by noise and sirens and things, you're definitely not going to want to have a more difficult time dealing with that. Another side effect is a loss of self. We all have a self. We have a sense of who we are, but meditation can actually make you lose that feeling of yourself. It can distort yourself, your sense of self. It can also make you very sensitive to flaws. You might be more critical and more judgmental. You might notice things that really bother you more and affect you more emotionally, because it blurs those boundaries. The next side effect I'm going to talk about is a really, really serious one for me. People who meditate can sometimes lose interest in things that used to excite them. They may have many passions and love things, and then all of a sudden they meditate and they develop their meditation practice, and they can lose the motivation or passion for the things that they used to really care about. There is a lack of pleasure and a lack of interest from all the things that used to make you very happy. And that's not good. It can lead to procrastination or depression because you just can't do the things that you once loved to do. Nothing seems to excite you anymore, and it's just like this very detached, lonely feeling. The next side effect I'm going to mention is something that no one really talks about at all, and it's that meditation can actually cause physical pain. Some people who meditate have claimed to feel headaches and get muscle spasms or twitches. Some have described erupting in pain throughout their entire body. Some might get tremors. It can cause you to feel exhausted and drained and tired. You might feel faint or weak. It can give you digestive issues. And then the next thing I'm going to talk about is that it triggers suppressed emotions that are really difficult. And sometimes it's a result of having very scary, violent traumas in the past. So when you meditate, it can bring up all these feelings that cause fear and anxiety, things that you may not have remembered, but it's so buried deep inside that it comes out and you're just like, whoa, and it can really cause a lot of fear and pain. So it can cause anxiety, panic attacks, paranoia, maybe cause obsessions, grief, sadness, depression. Some people have claimed to feel suicidal due to all of this. It can create symptoms of psychosis. And then the next side effect is sometimes there's this uncontrollable sobbing as you're processing things. Sometimes the emotion just doesn't come out and you start choking and you feel like you're drowning. Sometimes emotion is released through sound, and there might be some screaming and really agonizing. Often your body shakes because it wants to release that trauma and that emotion. Another side effect is that it can alter your sense of humor. You might start to feel like your jokes are more sarcastic and you can see the irony in the universe. It also may cause you to feel elated, and you can have hallucinations. State of mind. It will be a dissociative experience that probably will continue past the time you're meditating. And then another side effect is the anxiety of just even having to do it on a regular basis. You don't have to do it on a regular basis, but to get results, often it is advised to have a meditation practice, even if it's just like 5 minutes a day. And that in itself can cause anxiety. So those are some really negative side effects, and a lot of people who are into yoga or meditation or other things might be really upset about hearing all this, because the truth is, this needs to be said, and that's why I said it first. I want everyone to hear what could happen. There is a downside to meditating. I've heard a lot of different responses to this, but I'm gonna talk a little bit more about my take on it and what I think. So as I mentioned before, I'm not against meditation, and I think it has so many powerful effects, and obviously more people feel the benefits than they do these negative ones. I just do feel like they need to be acknowledged. I've talked about meditation briefly in a lot of my videos, or not a lot, but a few, and I do say how great it is and how awesome it is, and that's because I definitely believe in it. And there have been a lot of times where I'm like, I need to believe in this has to work for me, but the truth is, it hasn't. I don't regret telling you guys about it because I completely believe it works. You know, I have a lot of friends, meditation works really well for them, they love it. But there are a lot of things we don't understand about meditation. We live in a very driven world with a lot of powerful, forceful energy, and success is measured by how much you achieve and accomplish, and not really who you are. And so we're always on the go, gotta do this, gotta do that. I don't have time to just sit here and meditate. And that's the mindset a lot of us have. Like, it's hard when the rest of the world is going by and you have so much stuff to do, and you don't you can't do it, you know? I get it. And honestly, stillness is scary. When you're so used to being on all the time, how can you just turn it off? Well, meditation is not really about turning it off. And I'm not gonna really give you a whole tutorial on meditation or anything. And I'm not gonna give you the science about all this either. I'm just gonna talk about what I know from my own experience and the experience of those I know and different teachers I've talked to. Forget all these side effects for a second. Meditation is hard for a lot of people when they start. And people feel like they don't have time, or they're always on the go, or it just doesn't work for them, and they can feel like they're really bad at meditating, which is redonkulous if you ask me. For those of you who want to do meditation, I encourage you to try it. I encourage you to start small and then do it on a regular basis, and it'll be easier and easier. But yeah, there are always going to be times when the mind is much more turned on, and just try it, see what happens. Do not judge yourself. If you have a hard time, you're not a failure. The next thing I'm going to say is there are so many different types of meditation. And while one type may work for most people, others, like, they don't do well with that type. So it's really important to try different things. So don't automatically rule out meditation if you haven't even tried anything else, you know? A big argument for why meditation is awesome and it works is that it's been done forever, and it has. It's like an ancient art, and you can't really argue with that. Most people think that it's just about relaxing and de-stressing. They think that it's just about tuning everything out and being quiet and relaxing after a long day and focusing, and it's not. That may be a wonderful effect and benefit of meditation at times, but meditation is not about just relaxing. It is a powerful tool that allows you to tap into the depths of you, and it can cause a lot of scary feelings to come up, especially if you've been through a lot and you have a lot buried deep inside you. We tend to go through life and just like shove everything down and keep it locked away, and so meditation kind of lets your walls down. And it's not supposed to be easy. So a lot of spiritual gurus might say, oh, well, this is all normal, right? This is just normal. You're supposed to have traumatic things come up. Like, that just means you're healing, you're purging your feelings. I totally get that. And I think that's very powerful, and it definitely is probably very effective. Notice I say trauma a lot. It's because people who suffer the most like this are the ones who deal with these terrible or very impacting moments in their life that they had to deal with, and now it comes up when they're trying to meditate. People might be able to achieve that sense of bliss or stillness, but they might have to go through this emotional roller coaster first. It can be really good when you're journaling to meditate and go through your deepest, darkestnesses of yourself, you know, it can be good. But many people try to meditate with the intention of, you know, working through things or not. And things start coming up, but they don't get anywhere because they don't know how to work through it. So yeah, maybe it is helping things come out and you're, you know, dealing with all these suppressed emotions and you're healing. But at the same time, like, if you don't know what the fuck to do with all that when your life is in disarray and you're dealing with all these crazy things come up, like, what a lot of like meditation teachers and like spiritual gurus don't realize is that it can be more traumatic and more messy for someone and more dangerous for someone who has been through trauma, and can actually be more damaging psychologically. And that's why many mental health professionals actually don't recommend people with past traumas or anxiety to meditate on their own, because it can cause these reactions and it can bring up deep parts of yourself that you're not ready to confront, and you might need support or professional support to go through those things. Imagine you're dealing with a panic attack or pain. And even if you know that's from meditating, figuring out how to process that and deal with that is like a really big deal. And it can really mess with your life if you start triggering all these experiences and emotions and you don't really know what you're doing. So if this is something you want to explore, but you're getting all these really weird side effects, get a professional to monitor it. You know, it may not be safe for you. Most people just want to relax and they do meditation because they're told that it's going to help them do that. And not everyone needs to deal with their past. Some of you may be on this healing journey and you may want to purge your emotions and it may work really well for you. That's fine. That's fine. And maybe, you know, if I stuck on the road and I worked through everything and everything would be great someday, maybe that would be a method that would work. But you know what? I don't want to. The truth is, not everyone needs to deal with their past in the same way. And for some people, it can be more traumatic to have to re-access those memories and those difficulties. Just because you must get through it to feel enlightened. Bullshit. There are other methods of working through your traumas that may not be as jarring for you as meditation. So don't let any healer or person on this spiritual journey convince you that the only way you're going to get through things is if you confront your deepest, darkest fears and traumas. Because that's not necessarily true. Many people live with their traumas buried deep inside and they're perfectly fine. And I'm not saying that because I'm in denial. I've worked through many things and worked with many professionals and I've done my journey in a lot of ways. When I want to relax, I don't want to meditate because I don't want to access those things that come up. I don't want to feel more detached. I don't want to get the headaches that I get. It's not worth it to me. I have other methods of dealing with my anxiety and my stress that don't stir up the past. Just because you don't want to fully dig up your darkest emotions and the things that, you know, have plagued you in the past doesn't mean that you're not whole. This idea that we must do this to heal is just ridiculous. There are these purists out there, these people who think that you have to be pure, you have to be good, you have to purge all the negativity from you, you have to find inner peace, you have to remove all the toxins from your body, sweat them out, cry them out. You have to do 3 enemas a day until your butthole is sore. What I've learned is what works for some people just doesn't work for me, and you gotta take what works for you and you gotta decide, you know, like whether that's something you're gonna follow or whether you're just doing it because other people are saying this is what you should be doing. So if meditation isn't your cup of tea, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling like that. I never ever want you to feel like that. And I think trying to push yourself into fitting a mold is probably not healthy. Everyone processes their trauma differently. You don't have to identify with your trauma, but it's still a part of what made you you. So if you feel like you need to purge all the toxins and all these suppressed things inside of you, that's totally cool. But it may not be productive for a lot of people. Many people experience more harm than good by just trying to process things. We may have the time to sit down and meditate, but we also don't all have the time and energy and desire to sit there and really work through things anyway, you know? Obviously, some people respond beautifully to meditation and they do the whole journey and they love it, and that's fine. That's fine. But this video is for people who aren't sure. They're experiencing a lot of pain and a lot of trauma, and it's just coming up and they're re-experiencing these parts of themselves that they never want to revisit again, and they weren't ready for that. So let me reiterate, I do believe in meditation. I think it's great. I do. It may not have worked in the same way for me, but I do believe in it, and I think it's such a powerful tool, and I think certain types of meditation is easier for me than others. So I'm not against meditation. I love yoga. You know, I'm not against it. I think that it just causes some weird side effects for me over time. And it's something that I really needed to focus on and acknowledge, because it's something that I was like, no, that's not true. Meditation works. It works for everyone. But then I was like, yeah, this isn't working for me. Like, this is somehow it's making me feel very detached and I'm just out of whack. It was jarring. I started to get these like headaches, and I felt like very like out of body and dissociated from my life. Like, it was numb almost. And I started to get so afraid of actually meditating. Just the idea of doing a meditation practice, even if it was just like a little bit a day, was so stressful. Like, it just became this really big thing. And it wasn't like I had difficulty with meditation. Like, I'm good at like focusing on my breath and just like stillness. But when I did have stillness, I started to get panic attacks. I would start hyperventilating. And maybe those are things that I could work through in the long run and really let myself, deal with and heal. But right now, I don't want to do that. I want to find other ways to chill out. And I'm not in a place where I want to dig all that up. And that's totally cool. But this idea that I can only heal and I can only get better when I work through those things is bullshit. Don't use what I have said, the side effects, as an excuse to not meditate. If you are having a hard time meditating, don't give up. It may not be easy at first, and it may take some getting used to, but meditation has really helped a lot of people, and it's something that is very powerful. And just because you're having a hard time, or you can't sit still, or you can't stand like your thoughts and whatever, that doesn't mean that you're having serious damaging panic attacks and side effects. That means that's very different, okay? People who are like, oh, I can't meditate, meditation's not for me, give it a chance. And hey, if you just enjoy relaxing and quieting your mind and whatever, that's cool too. Like, do that. It doesn't have to be this complicated. Thank you for watching. How is meditation working for you? What other ways do you like to chill out that don't involve meditation? For me, I really like roller coasters. I love the thrill therapy. I like adrenaline rushes. They make me feel so relaxed and so awesome and de-stressed. My brother loves mosh pits. I have a twin, and I don't like mosh pits, but he seems to feel completely calm after being in a mosh pit. He loves like hard metal and rock, and he goes to concerts and likes just to be in the mosh pits and just and it works for him. So something like that might help you. Studies have shown that actually a lot of people who go to mosh pits actually are better off in life. So I don't know. Orgasms are very de-stressing. They're very good for you, like health-wise. There are a lot of benefits. Subscribe. Bye.